Okay, so today we got a Craftsman, and when you turn it on, the amp meter doesn't budge, which is not a big deal. I mean, it could be the amp meter's bad, but the battery is also discharging and won't charge back up. So it looks like we have a charging issue, which is a problem because this mower is a electric engage PTO, so it uses electric as you're mowing. So what we're going to do is we're going to test the charging system. Now this is going to be hard to do on camera because the motor has to run to make that work, and I would have to be able to talk and explain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain it first, and then I'll start it up and demonstrate what it's doing. So under here, under your flywheel, is a thing called the stator. And what happens is your flywheel goes around the stator, and the flywheel has magnets on it, and as it goes around the stator, it sends out an electrical current, AC as a matter of fact, not DC, but AC. And so what we'll do is we'll start it and we'll test the AC current using these two connections right here. This is the voltage regulator right here, and I'll explain that in a minute. So as we go here, we should be getting anywhere between 13 and 50 AC volts. Well, we're getting 15, so it's at the low end of the scale. Now, when I test this, it is charging a little bit, but not near as much as it should be. Because the next step you got to do is you got to test the voltage DC. So this voltage regulator changes AC electric from your stator into DC electric to charge the battery. And so you test that by connecting to the ground and checking the center one. So that's DC. And if you can get in real close, which I don't know if you can see it on camera, it actually says on the voltage regulator AC, AC, DC. So I'm going to start this up and we'll show you. AC, AC. Okay, now we're going to DC. Okay, that was interesting because when I checked it before, we had 15 volts AC. So when I connected it to the two outside connections, I had 15 volts. But as we saw there, it was just over 12. So it's below spec now. 13 is the spec. And then when I went to DC, it was at 12.48 DC volts. So there's no charging going on at all now. So we'll go ahead and change out the stator and the voltage regulator both. Okay, I gotta get the oil dipstick out of the way. Because they got another bolt right behind it. Okay, so now we're going to take off the flywheel. Okay, so got to remove the ignition coils because they're going to be in the way because the gears on the flywheel will hit it. Okay, some of you are going to adamantly disagree with this, but I've done it my entire life and it's never had a problem. I've seen YouTubers do it, so I'm going to pound it and try to pry it up. Okay, I think I felt it pop loose, so take the bolt out. Okay, there's a key. There's a key right there. We don't want to lose that key. Okay, so you saw me taking the magnets off the stator. So that is probably the real problem, is the magnets are supposed to be epoxied to the flywheel. So we will have to epoxy this. Now, one of the magnets was broke, which is not too terribly bad because we had replace. I have a spare. Now, these are different polarities. And so what you have to do to determine your polarity is you'll match it up. If they stick together on both sides, then that's the correct polarity. But if it does this and, oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, here, I'll use this broken one. But if they repel each other like this, you can't get them to stick, then that's wrong. So that each one of them has to be able to stick to each other. So north, south, north, south, north, south is basically what you're doing. Okay, so I'm not going to show you how to reattach the magnets to a flywheel. Because technically, you're supposed to buy a new flywheel, but they're really expensive. Now, what I didn't tell you is this is my lawnmower. We call it the Beast. So I'm going to reattach the magnets. Doesn't hurt me one way or another. If it doesn't work, then I'll just go get a flywheel. But if you want to do it, there are some videos out there that shows you how to do it. And so I'm just going to do it off camera. Okay, so we're going to remove the stator now. We'll unplug it from the voltage regulator, and I'm going to clip the DC wire because when we put the new one on, we won't be able to use this clip here. So we'll just cut the DC wire. So I've got the magnets epoxied back on. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you how to do it because that's outside the scope of this channel. So we'll go ahead and start putting this back onto the lawnmower. Okay, so there's a key here that we're going to have to line up with the flywheel slit there. So I'm going to turn the flywheel just to make sure nothing is hitting once I get this tightened up. Okay, so now we're going to put the ignition coil back on. When you put these on, you want to hold the ignition coil all the way back and tighten the bolts all the way down. Well, I'll show you instead of trying to explain it to you. Okay, holding it all the way back. And then I'm going to turn the flywheel until the magnet gets to the ignition coil. So there's the magnet there. And then we're going to put our feeler gauge in it, in between it, to establish our air gap. Now you can use a business card. Most people on YouTube does use a business card. I don't know, it's just OCD or something. I got to use the feeler gauge. So now that the feeler gauge is in there, I can loosen the ignition coil, and the magnet will pull the ignition coil up against the feeler gauge, and that'll give you a proper gap. Okay, so now we're going to do the other side. Pull it all the way back. I don't know if I said this, the gap is 10 thousandths. Okay, so now we're going to put the shroud back on. We're going to take the oil tube back out so we can get the shroud back on. Make sure we get the breather here into the hole. Okay, so now we gotta loosen this starter bolt so we can get that tube screw back in. If you don't loosen that up, you'll never get the screw to line up with the screw hole. Okay, so here's the new voltage regulator. Okay, so the purple wire, the one that goes to the battery, is in the center. And the two white wires go on the AC on the outside. Oops. I knocked my DC off. I'll put that back on off camera. Okay, so that worked. We got it running. Now, some are going to say you probably didn't need to replace the stator and the voltage regulator because we know the batteries were bad. But since I was already in there, what was the extra $30 going to hurt? Just make sure that all the system was functioning correctly. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to another video where I had the same problem, except the magnets were destroyed. So I hope this video helps you work on your machines under the shade tree. Thanks for watching.